there are 3 different styles of cutting boards. There is a face grain, which is just kind of what you see here. Like these are charcuterie boards, but this is a face grain. Mm-hmm. So you can use this as a cutting board, but this is going to show a lot of knife marks, and it's going to dull your knife pretty quick. Mm. If you have really nice, utensils, really nice cutlery, it'll dull it, and so you have to constantly sharpen it. Then there's what they call the edge grain, or some people call it the long grain, and it's the edge of it. That's a little bit better because then your fibers are kind of starting to be a little bit more forgiving. And then the best is what this board is here. This is an end grain. So your fibers are standing straight up and down. Picture a tree standing straight up and down. It gets all of its nutrients and water running through its core, mm-hmm. and they're like straws. And so with the straws standing straight up, when you cut, they're a lot more forgiving. They don't dull your knife as much, and they don't show the knife marks as much. Like that's your best board to do.
What's going on, everyone? It's Lauren Fulmer.
I'm Victor Dantas.
And we have another fun episode of the Talk About It podcast. Special guest today, Bryon Walters. Bryon, how are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good.
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you bringing some stuff to kind of look at and talk about, and looking forward to that.
Yeah, certainly.
Bryon, I've had the opportunity to kind of scroll through your Instagram and check out some of your work. It was really cool, and it kind of made me want to reach out to you and see if you'd come join us. So I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, certainly. No, I appreciate you checking in and having me out. This is great.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just start off, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and even BW Design Works, and
sure.
Go from there.
Sure. Yeah. I originally born and raised out in Southern California. I'll be 58 this year. So I started woodworking really in high school. My father was always working with his hands and everything, and he kind of instilled that kind of work ethic in me and everything. And so in high school, they offered all kinds of shop classes, which I don't think they do anymore, really.
Yeah, we had them in the 90s. I don't know about...
I graduated 84, so...
Okay.
But yeah, we had metal shop, auto shop, wood shop, and I always loved working with wood and being out, out in the forest and everything. So I took up woodworking and really never looked back. So I've been doing this a little over 40 years. And never really thought of doing it as kind of a business or a side hustle. One year I was, I subscribed to a magazine, Woodworking magazine, and I read an article in there where there was a 11-year-old boy that was making pens, and he was donating some to charity and raising money and everything. And I have 2 kids, and at the time they were right around the same age. I thought this would be a great way to, get my kids involved in it. So I already had the equipment. I had purchased some right out of high school because I wanted to continue working with it. And I made myself a pen and tried to get my son in it, and that lasted for just a little while. And he was more into the video games than the woodworking, which is fine. But then I just started, I had all these pens, and so I just kind of started selling the pens, and it just grew from there. And, I love working with like the exotic woods. This is the first pen that I ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
You still got it?
I still got it.
That's awesome.
That's Ambonia burl. In fact.
So how old is that one? Like 40, you said about 35, 40 years-ish or so?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I actually got something for you guys there.
Oh, man.
Thank you very much.
You didn't have to do that.
Oh, well, I know.
That's very cool, man.
I know.
Thank you very much.
That way you guys...
Oh.
So that is Ambonia burl there. And kind of the neat fact with Ambonia burl, that is the first wood that Rolls-Royce used as an accent in their car.
Okay.
Hold
on, I got to know how to say that word.
Ambonia burl.
Ambonia?
Yeah.
Ambonia burl.
Burl. Yeah.
Ambonia
so
burl.
When you see, if you drive down the street and you see kind of like this growth on the outside of a tree, it looks like bumps and spikes. That's a burl. Burl.
Gotcha.
And the tree underwent some kind of trauma. Either it, had a limb broke off and it's trying to repair itself, or it had some kind of disease or fungus from a gash or a scar. And the burls just, it kind of twists and turns. It's not like a straight grain like what these are. Mm-hmm. And that's what gives you like this amazing figure. And that's where people started looking at the different woods and how to use it and how to accent it and everything. So, and then Victor, yours is a teak burl.
Teak burl.
That's the one that Rolls-Royce currently uses in their.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
those are twists. You just twist the top and then take the.
And then it comes with this. It's like a refill.
Yep, that's another refill. I gave you guys each a real refill.
Gotcha.
It's just a Parker style refill. You can get it at any,
That's
online
very cool,
or any staple.
No, that's
How do you
right.
get the wood that you do all of this?
I buy from all over. Moving back here, I met my wife. We've been married. We'll be married 32 years this year. So they had moved out there. My wife and I met. Her family moved back, and eventually we moved back here as well. We've been back for about 4 or 5 years. But a lot of my connections are out on the West Coast. That's where I find my exotic wood. That's what I really like to work with. The domestic woods are beautiful as well. Like this is a curly black walnut from Galesburg. It was actually harvested locally in Galesburg. Got it from Justin.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
in my head. I was even wondering if you
Yep.
crossed path with
Yep.
him yet.
Yeah, great guy, great family.
Sure is.
So I get a lot of my domestics from him, the maple and cherry and walnut. But then on the exotics, there's different wholesalers and guys that go out and search for this kind of stuff. So this is olive wood here. It's just different wholesalers online.
Help my brain understand how you take wood and literally get an end product of like this.
Like that.
What type of tool?
Yeah. Like help
You
me if
know-
you take me through that journey. I don't understand.
So the wood obviously comes in all different sizes. I'm currently making a couple big resin tables for customers, one out of North Carolina, one in California, and they're big, thick slabs. And I hoard my wood. I turn my 2-car garage into my wood shop, and so I save all of my cutoffs, all of my scraps, because I make the pins, I make the bottle stoppers. So there's something that I can make out of every stitch of the wood, really.
Right.
And it's just dependent on what tools you have. That is done on a lathe, and really all you need to make that with is like a blank that is 3/4 of an inch square and about 5 inches long. And so then you go through the process of drilling it out, putting the brass tube in there, and then you put it on a lathe and you mill it and you turn it. You do a sanding process and a polishing process and then a finishing process and then assembly.
Yeah, because I mean they're really smooth. I mean that one even looks like stone.
Yeah, so these here, these are a resin impregnated material. So this is more of like a mica powder, similar to like what you see here and on this white here. You can get that to look just pretty much like anything, like countertops and floors that they do with the epoxy resins. And this is like a milk protein. This is casein. So it's a kind of a milk protein that's built into the resin. And then this one here is a volcanic ash. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
So what's the amount of time that takes to make one pen?
It really depends on how intricate I'm going and what the material is. As a general rule, you can make a pen within an hour to 2 hours. If it's just like a basic wood, turn and you're good to go. Now, when you get into the resins, that's going to take you days because you got to mix the resin, you got to pour it, you got to let it cure before you can work it. And then you can drill it and then start to work it. And then there's some other woods as well. Like there's a wood out of South America called snakewood. And it's a very brittle wood, but it literally looks like a snake skin, and it's very sensitive to like temperature changes, heat and cold. So if you work it too much, as you turn it, it's going to generate some heat, just like anything. And if you let it get too hot, it'll split. So something like that takes you a few days, even though it's just wood, because you got to just
Nurse it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you start finding out? A ton of trial and error, right?
It is. I mean, I'm still learning.
Sure.
You know, there's always a new process that somebody comes up with. There's always brand new tools that come out that, help you speed up your job or does a little bit better. Certain woods are prone to splintering and cracking, so you got to have very sharp tools. So there's always new sharpening tools. There's new tools that come out with different metals. For turning, the standard was just regular steel that's sharpened, and you got to keep sharpening it as you're turning during the project. Now they have carbide tips that hold an edge longer, and so that works better on resins. Then they do what's called a negative rake. So instead of it having a square edge, it actually has a sloped edge, so it doesn't chip as it comes by. But yeah, it's always a learning process. There's always something new to learn.
Whoops.
Do you have like a network of, there's always like a club or a group or, is there something like that for woodworkers that you've along the way have been able to meet, like-minded people doing the same thing, or has it just kind of been your own kind of study and trials and errors?
A little bit of both, honestly. Obviously, when I was in high school, we had classes. I mean, my senior year in high school, I was taking 4 different woodshop classes. I was a teacher's aide in one, and then there was like an advanced woodworking, and then there was an intermediate. So I would enroll in all of those just because I enjoyed it so much. And I still stay in contact with some of my high school friends that do it here and there, but not as much. And as of late, no, it's just me out there in the garage working and hustling online. This isn't my full-time gig just yet. I'm getting close to retirement age, hopefully another 8-9 years, and then this is what I'll do full-time, is just kind of supplement the income and get it going. But I love it's my stress release.
I'll say it makes it fun when it's your kind of free time.
Exactly.
What about your customers? Do they buy this to collect those items, or they really use them?
Or gifts too.
Yeah,
I'm
or
sure.
gifts.
Both. Yeah, honestly, all of the above. There's people that have very specific wants or needs, so they'll reach out to me and we'll work together on collaborating something that they really want. I've had people that I just posted a video up on my YouTube channel. I had a customer that was in Galesburg that their family farm was founded in 1899, and they had wood that came from the property, and they've had it stored forever. And they wanted some charcuterie boards and cutting boards made from the farm.
That's
and
cool.
We did a crest, and we did the geographical location, the GPS coordinates of the farm, and she gave them as Christmas presents. So, that's the stuff that really means a lot to me, because somebody's entrusting me with something that you can't just go down to the store and replace it if you mess up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this has been in their family for years. It means a great deal to them. So those are the ones that really mean a lot to me.
Well, especially being able to deliver that back, that's the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like you bring that product into something, and now, those are treasured items to that family for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
Now, if I buy a cutting board and I actually want to use and cut things on it, how can I keep it looking good for a long time?
So there are 3 different styles of cutting boards. There is a face grain, which is just kind of what you see here. Like these are charcuterie boards, but this is a face grain. So you can use this as a cutting board, but this is going to show a lot of knife marks, and it's going to dull your knife pretty quick. If you have really nice, utensils, really nice cutlery, it'll dull it, and so you have to constantly sharpen it. Then there's what they call the edge grain, or some people call it the long grain, and it's the edge of it. That's a little bit better because then your fibers are kind of starting to be a little bit more forgiving. And then the best is what this board is here. This is an end grain, so your fibers are standing straight up and down. Picture a tree standing straight up and down. It gets all of its nutrients and water running through its core, and they're like straws. And so with the straws standing straight up, when you cut, they're a lot more forgiving. They don't dull your knife as much, and they don't show the knife marks as much. Like, that's your best board to do. So if you start with the best board you can go with, that would be the first thing. Using really nice cutlery, really nice knives will definitely help it as well. I make a treatment paste, which is a mixture of a food grade mineral oil and a beeswax, and you can just put that on. Once you see the easiest way to see if it needs it is take some like a little dab of water, and if it beads up, put it on the cutting board. If it beads up and it soaks in, or if it beads up, you're fine. If it soaks down in, you know that your board is starting to dry out and that you need to condition it. And so what this does is the mineral oil will go down into the board, absorb into the board, condition it, and then the wax will stay on top and haze over. You wipe it on with just a cotton cloth, let it set for about 15-20 minutes, and then wipe off the wax with a microfiber cloth. And then your board is good to go for another month or two, depending on how much you use it. You just remember these are wood. You don't want to put it in a dishwasher where there's extreme heat and water blasting on it. You just use a mild detergent and a soft sponge or brush, and get all the contaminants off of it, and then just dry it and let it set.
So is there a general rule where you cannot put this like wood in the dishwasher?
Yeah, dishwasher, the heat, it gets up there.
Oh, okay.
It gets up to some pretty high temps. My cutting boards, I use Type Bond 3, which is a waterproof glue. It's really the best. They call it a PVA glue. It's like a polymer glue, and that glue will hold it even through water. It's like an exterior glue as well. So it's really the products that you put into it that you'll get the length out of there.
Yeah, that's good to know, because I always put my cutting boards in the.
If you got wooden ones, don't put them in the dishwasher. Yeah, they'll warp and crack and check.
No, I like what you said. I kind of, and maybe you mentioned the hot water. I do get like really hot water when I clean it.
Yeah.
But
so as long as it's not like you're not submerging it and you're not subjecting it to a long period of time.
But I have a really nice one like this.
Yeah.
And I've yet to use it in like 2 years. Because I love it. Well, I don't know, because I love it. I don't want to, like you said, maybe start getting knife marks.
Yeah.
Maybe not know how to treat it. Like, I don't have any of that, so maybe I should, pick up something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so far it sits off on my counter. It's like more of a display.
Yeah.
But I do love it. But I'm yet to actually use it. I get out my other wooden one anytime I'm going to actually do it.
Yeah, and the beauty of it too is it's wood, so it can be refinished. It could be sanded down and refinished and everything. I've had some customers over the last 5-10 years that have bought cutting boards from me, and they've used them as chopping blocks. They have the big, almost like a hatchet, and they're chopping meat on there, and they'll send it back to me, and I'll refinish it for them and send it back out. Now, obviously, there's only so many times you can do that, because you got to bring the board down a little lower and lower. But usually with the end grain boards, this one here is about 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches thick. I make some larger ones. I have a competition style one that's up on my website right now, and that is a little over 2 inches thick. So obviously that can come down another inch, as you go.
I was looking at this. You can make a pretty sweet checkerboard. Have you made any of those before?
I haven't made any checker or chess boards. I've been asked to, but yeah, you can. you could really do anything. There's 3D designs that you can do with them. I mean, you could really get into it. On my Instagram and Facebook page, I have my video up. In fact, I put a short up on my YouTube channel of how that board was assembled.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some of them. You do a great job with
Thank you.
those, editing those and video. I don't know how
Thank
to
you.
do any of that stuff at all. Victor knows. I can sit here and talk for days.
Do you edit your videos?
I do a little bit, but honestly, my son-in-law,
Okay.
yeah, he's always, he's born and raised in Galesburg, and he loves doing that. He loves being behind the camera, loves the editing. So
Cool.
I actually have about 6 or 7 different builds that are already done, shot. So he's just got to edit them, put it together. We put music to it, and then I'll do a little voiceover in some sections and everything. So I've got enough YouTube content. I just literally started my YouTube in December. So I only have one long form video up. It's the cutting boards from my client that's there in Galesburg with the family farm.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff is just shorts because just wanted to get a little bit of traction up. So, you know, I don't have a great deal of followers right now, but that'll come over time. You know, and the videos they're getting about 500 views right now.
That's good.
After about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just hitting the algorithm and having it titled right.
Well, one thing I found with a lot of the videos, even even myself, it might not be something I'm even interested at all. Like watching somebody do a whole pour of concrete. You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'll watch that step by step by step.
Yeah.
You know, just it's almost like satisfying.
Yeah.
You know, to
Satisfying
just
video.
watch. Yeah, and like yours are about the same way. You know, just watching this thing come into fruition, and you know, I love to learn. Hence us even doing this podcast, and so I love stuff like that. I will sit there and stare at my phone and get lost watching.
That's where, you know, COVID brought a lot of people on and started watching. And I've talked to a lot of people. I love watching. I'll just sit there for hours and watch the different pours and everything. And that's where, you know, I got connected with a really nice resin company. They're based out of Florida, U.S. based product, and I love their stuff. And they're like a one-stop shop. So I started an affiliate program with them, and they promote me on their website. I promote them, and it's a good mix. And I mean, we just make content together and throw it out there. So it's a lot of fun.
Have you seen any of the, like, it's basically like a back deck or back patio, and it has like the wood and this resin?
Yeah.
Have you seen some of those? Those are crazy.
I have. You know, so as a general rule, the epoxy resin is more of an indoor product. There are some stuff that they'll put on the garage floors and everything because it's a lot easier to clean up. You can throw in little bits of sand in there too to get some traction, so it's not as slippery and everything. The epoxy resin that I use is it's a commercial grade epoxy. They do actually a deck resin as well, but I don't use that. But yeah, I have seen some of that stuff. I have another client that's out in California that's bought a few pieces from me, and they're wanting me. They have a old whiskey barrel, and they're wanting a top for that.
So is this the same material you used on that one?
It is. So this one here. So the differences in this. I actually use 3 different resins for this product. This one I use 2 different ones. That one I use 3. When you have your wood. So this was a live edge. This is olive wood here. You want to seal the edges. Okay. And so I use their quick set seal, and that sets up in about an hour, 2 hours. And you just want it tacky. And then I use a deep pour resin, which they're the only ones that are really out there that you can pour up to 2 inches at one time. Most of the other companies that are out there, you have to pour them in about a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch at the most because it just won't set up right.
Okay.
And so then this one here is just a natural wood finish, so you get that textile feel. You know, when I set up out, when I do my craft shows, that's the first thing. Like everybody walks up and they love just feeling the wood, you know, and touching it. It's great. That one there, same process, although you'll see how glossy it is. That one has a bar and tabletop coating on it. So it has the quick set seal for the live edge. So you can see here the sapwood, which is the lighter color wood. And then this is the heartwood, the darker color wood. So you seal the edges, I seal the ends, let that set up, and then I poured a small 1/4-inch base coat of their bar and tabletop just to set up so I could put the beans in there, coat the beans a little bit. And let
that's coffee beans?
That's coffee beans
awesome.
From Innkeepers over there in Galesburg.
And they will stay like this forever?
It'll stay like
look
that
like
forever.
that?
Yep,
Yeah.
look like that.
That's
yep.
awesome.
And then
And you could put anything in there, right?
Oh yeah. I've if you scroll through my Instagram page, I make these resin eggs, and I've done some Star Wars figures with Grogu. Some people call him Baby Yoda. I've done some glow in the dark pigment. So as it sits there, I've done some LED lighting in there to where you just flip a switch on and the whole egg lights up.
Could you put photos in there?
Yep.
Like some old photos?
Oh yeah.
And have 'em-
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
My daughter just was married a couple years ago, and she has her bouquet and everything. So we made a resin mold of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
this
Yeah.
one is
The
impressive.
possibilities are really endless.
Sure.
You know, and that's where, like I said, you're constantly learning and trying new things, and it's really trial and error. There's all kinds of online communities that you can join, and people are very helpful. You know, there's one website that I was on, and a gentleman was overseas over in the UK, and he was having problems with scratching on his resin. He couldn't get it clear and polished. And I said, well, are you cleaning your pads? He's like, what do you mean cleaning my pads? And so I sent him a link of what I use, and he sent me back, he goes, that's what it was.
Huh.
You know, and it's just that kind of thing. And I love helping people just grow and explore different things. But, like, it's just trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen his business card? It's made of wood, too.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah, my dad, my dad was a farmer, and he instilled a lot of things into me. But the one saying that really stuck with me is, you get one chance at a first impression.
That's true.
Make it count. And so I came
nice,
across
right?
this company that makes
That's
cards
crazy.
of wood, and I said, what better
Yeah.
way to broadcast for my business. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
So these boxes, let's maybe, why don't you grab that box back there?
Yeah,
It looks
so-
like it's got layers into it.
Yeah, so this is a jewelry box here. So this is made of bird's eye maple, and I used wenge accents. So it's got a wenge lift, and then this is all crushed velvet lining, and all of these come out. You can make them larger, smaller compartments. This comes out as well. This is for earrings or rings that you could put in there. And then I use genuine leather for the lifts to come up out of here. And then there's other little storage compartments down there.
I'm just going to kind of show this to the camera here. That's awesome.
The
And you can adjust, you said the...
yeah. These completely come out, and
Right.
you can
Make it
take these
smaller,
out
bigger, or-
and make it smaller, bigger. So if you've got larger pieces like necklaces that you want, you can do that. The hinges are a Brusso solid brass, and it's a 95-degree stop hinge, so it stops it from falling completely over. I do keepsake boxes. I've done urns. Lost my brother-in-law about 2 months ago, so I made an urn for him. My father passed in 2020, and that was one of my favorite things that I've made, was an urn for
Yeah,
him.
how awesome.
Yeah, I've done pet urns.
Yeah, you need to get in with like Mark Thomas. We had
Yeah.
him on the show.
Yeah.
They do quite a bit of the pet crematory. And
They
different
do.
things.
Yeah,
That's
they're
a
off
growing
of
biz.
Seminary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a growing biz right now.
It is.
People,
is.
I have no pets, but people will spend some money on their pets. I know that.
We have dogs. In fact, that's one of the things that's really kind of helped, I think, my channel grow a little bit is we have boxers. So my white boxer is like attached to my hip all the time. She follows me around, so I dubbed her the shop supervisor, and she's in a lot of the videos, and people comment on her a lot. So
That's great.
Yeah.
So what is there anything new or that you're trying to experiment or messing around with?
Yeah, I've always got new product coming out. I always try to bring something different. You know, I set up for the spring drive and the fall drive out at Prairie Moon Farm. And I always try to have a brand new product. So right now I'm working on a wooden amplified speaker for your phone. That
Like with a Bluetooth?
or
Or you plug in or
amplifier?
It's really I was gonna have some made for this, but time constraint. But it will hold your phone at a 45-degree angle, and then your speakers are on the bottom.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you have your phone and you cup your hand, you notice how
Yeah.
loud it is.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing with wood. So I made a trough and then had some holes coming out so the sound is directed directly at you. And so you could just sit there and you don't have to hold your phone and worry
Right.
about it. It'll sit
That's
there.
cool.
Dang, I would buy one of those.
Yeah.
Because I always notice, like, in my bathroom, if I'm getting in the shower, I
Yep.
like to have music, but I will take my phone, like you said, almost in the corner.
Put on
Yep.
the corner. I
So
do the
it's
same
on
thing.
On the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's like
So you
a
get that
little-
reverb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I put on the corner by the wall, so
I do.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
louder.
Speaker down. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so I'm experimenting with the different size of the holes and the depth of the trough because I want to maximize the volume output. And then, of course, you know, you've got the iPhones, the volume buttons on the left, and the Samsungs, they're all on the right. So it depends on which phone you have, is if you want a right or a left trough, because you don't want your volume buttons down,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
where you can't control it. You can always pause it from the screen. Everything's touch screen now.
It's crazy how much the Apple and Android people there's
Oh, it's funny.
different.
Yeah.
And like I have an Android, I'll probably always be an Android guy, but
Yeah.
I'll send someone a message and they're upset that it's like a green.
Green, not blue.
And instead of answering my question, they'll come back with, "Why is your message green?" You know,
Really?
like, "Why you still have an Android?" And like, there's like a
You're gonna change at some point.
I don't, man. Maybe
You
if
know,
it's the only
that's-
option.
That's the American way, isn't it? There's Ford, Chevy, there's Coke,
Yeah.
Pepsi, and
Yeah.
Android, and Apple.
I
So-
have no tech skills whatsoever. It's taken me so long to figure this Android out. I can't imagine starting over with the Apple. I
Apple is
really-
easier.
Yeah, that's what Apple people say. But
Yeah,
that's
I got
the
an
one.
iPhone, but I have a PC. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one thing that I found in making my content. You know, when I film on my iPhone.
Yeah.
But then when I go to transfer it over, like I can see it when I plug it in, but I transfer it over on my PC, then the image goes away and it just gives me a number. And I'm like, ooh, I gotta watch this and title it. So-
Yeah.
But
Right.
I started getting some GoPros and
Yeah.
filming with that.
That's good. Do you film like from your perspective, or do you?
I try to move the camera around a lot.
Okay.
I've got 3 different tripods, so
Oh.
I'll shoot. Like I'll just let it run.
Yeah.
So I've got hours and hours of content,
Okay.
and then we try to chop it up. You know, ideally, I think 45 minutes to an hour is about the right length for a full length, and then YouTube makes it where it has to be 3 minutes or less.
Yeah.
For a short.
For a short. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like like trying to compete with TikTok.
Yeah, yeah.
and all that stuff.
That's
you
what
know, 'cause
Shorts is doing. Yeah.
It's funny, you know, my demographics, it's really broad. The shorts, you've got that 17 to 25 range because they're like that. I call it the microwave era. It's like everything's quick, short.
People don't want to watch long videos.
Right. And then honestly, about 45% of my followers and customers are in that 30 to 50 range.
Yeah, people that watch the long format videos are people that enjoy watching your content. Yeah, like their followers. And people that watch the shorts are people that ended up being there, and they might watch, they might not watch, but you know, they just keep scrolling down to the next one. And,
and you know, honestly, like I appreciate anybody watching it, and I've always watched, you know, other YouTubers and everything, and you know, they always say, you know, just please like, subscribe, cost nothing, and it means the world. And I can't tell you how much that does mean. Like just a little push button of like, you know, and just it gets it within the algorithm to where it sees more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, the internet has definitely allowed us. I always say when you ask questions, you know, just Google it. You know, go to the internet, go watch a video. Yeah, you can learn, you know, how to change the plumbing in your kitchen from a video. Yeah, you know. Yeah, you'll probably have some mistakes along the way, but you'll get it done. Yep. You know,
but you know that's hands on. Just do it. That's what I think is lacking today. Is a lot of people just don't. They don't have the time to do it. That's the biggest thing. That is. But I get the enjoyment out of that, of, you know, the gratification of fixing it yourself. Sometimes it costs more. You know, like you're well more into the product. Like a lot of this stuff, I would never get paid enough for my time that goes into it, you know, especially on like some of the big resin tables that I'm making right now. A table that I'm making for a customer in North Carolina. I've been 2 months on it, you know, just because you got to let it. It's 2.5 inches thick and a little over 6 feet long and about 40 inches wide. Whoa! And that resin has to cure for about 30 days before, you know, you can really start to work it, and then you kind of go from there.
Yeah, so you're doing it. You're making like $1 an hour, maybe. Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, but you're loving what you're doing. Exactly. You're putting out some amazing products.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I make money on the product, but like time wise, if you look at the general time wise, right? You know, if you break it down that way, where somebody's maybe making whatever $15-$20 an hour, or you go to a mechanic and they have a shop rate,
right? So. Yeah. No, and I am really impressed with your work, Bryon. Yeah. You've done a good job. I appreciate you bringing in all of this stuff and talking with us.
Of course.
I'm sitting here thinking, too, I am a terrible gift giver. I mean, I just flat out suck at thinking of good gifts. And the whole time we've been sitting here, I've thought of probably 10 or 20 things like, oh, that'd be a great gift for my parents, or a great gift idea to do something, you know, like that, or put pictures in it, or whatever the heck, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I have a laser engraver, so I can engrave, you know, personalization or names. It's definitely a great gift, and that's where a lot of the stuff goes to as well. So
if people want to buy your products, where they can go? Can they buy online?
You can buy online. My website is bwdesignworks.com. I have a secure checkout that goes through Stripe. You don't have to have anything special set up. You don't have to subscribe. You can check out as a guest. I do carry my products over at Innkeepers. They stock some of my stuff that's over there.
Yeah, I've seen some of that. I didn't realize it was yours.
Yep.
Good.
Yep, that's my product that's over there. Ben and Jess have been very nice with me, and they carry it in there. And then I set up on the drives for anybody that's local. But as far as, you know, like out of the state of Illinois, I do ship. I usually ship out UPS. But they can go buy online, and then you can find me on any of the socials. I do Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and it's BW Design Works.
BW Design Works, and that BW is Bryon Walters, guys.
Exactly, exactly, and that's what my logo is. It's the B. So if you look at it, that's the B, and if you turn it, then there's the W.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that, pen. That's a cool gift, Bryon.
I wanted to give you guys something as a thanks for having me on, and something that you would use.
Yep, for sure.
It'll go right in my office, and I appreciate that so much.
Very nice. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Bryon.
Of course.
I really appreciate it.
And thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable. I loved it.
You guys go to BW Design Works, check out some of Bryon's work. You'll be super impressed. Many of this type of stuff. And if you're a terrible gift giver like me, you can start thinking of other stuff too. But I appreciate you guys. Lauren Fulmer,
Victor Dantas,
and Bryon Walters here. It's another Wrapping Up Talk About It podcast. Have a great day, guys.
See you guys.
Have a good one.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Talk About It podcast.
I'm Victor Dantas.
I'm Lauren Fulmer.
And we would encourage you guys to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell. It's going to be right below the video. So
hit the bell.
So you know when the next episode is up.
We appreciate all the support.
Thank you.